this is a new line of thinking I've been pursuing in the last couple of weeks. I'm going to sort of ask you to push back on it a little bit.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So I think that a team that's aiming to deliver an MVP, is probably fairly small. The MVP is very focused, and the focus is on proving out that MVP to the extent of all else. So you'll likely rack up a bit of tech debt, you'll likely cut some corners, and you'll likely just do the easiest thing that works. But that's the kind of the right heuristics to apply at that stage.
Yeah.
The next sort of stage of evolution from that sort of early stage teams up to sort of 50 odd people is about putting the rest of the loops in place around the business that need to happen. So that's hiring, that's partnerships, that's marketing, that's sales, and it's product and getting an engineering team up and running that can deliver, right? And I think the pressure at that point is that it's more efficient. And this is it's a critical kind of survival piece to get there, right? You have to get a fully working system up and running. It's more efficient at that stage to allow those things to become silos, right? Marketing can just go off and figure out how to build the growth loop, and customer success can figure out how to build that relationship with customers, and the development team can figure out how to get their CI/CD set up and their delivery and all of these things. And that sort of naturally creates silos. And then you end up with going into this kind of 50 to however big that company gets. And it's at that point where you need to create systems, and those systems need to cross the boundaries of the silos. And it's that point that it's the efficiency of the whole system that now starts to matter a lot more than the efficiency or the creation of the individual pieces of that ecosystem. And I think that's where this kind of split between business and other functions starts to business and tech starts to become problematic, because now you need to break down all of those silos and build cross-functional teams, or you need to have take some ideas from team topologies and build something that is a holistic, sustainable system for growth. So that's the kind of broadly the sort of the three phases, I think, and they're all aimed at different things necessarily, and I think it's those transition points that I see where the problems come. What do you think?
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely those transition points that are the difficult part for a business. And then, like you said, it's like, okay, so you're going from this tiny team to something like 50 people. You need to do that siloing, otherwise people are going to get overwhelmed and you're not going to be able to ship. I'm wondering, this is totally pie in the sky, but I'm wondering if there's a process where a company could go through from that small team to that, that larger systems network without siloing. Because I think the biggest danger is this siloing will want to stay siloed, because, it's very hard to implement these interlinking systems.
Yeah, so that's actually a really good thing to noodle on a bit. Yes, I think it's possible. I think if you lived in a world where there was a kind of acceptably good way of doing the various different functions, and you could just implement those things. So there are a number of courses, for want of a better word, that sort of teach you about growth hacking, or how to build a sustainable startup. There's The Great CEO Within. There's Traction by Gino Wickman. There's a whole bunch of best practices. Is really the wrong phrase here. It's kind of guidelines, right? It's
like basic building blocks that aren't necessarily the best way to do it, but they're good enough for a small company. Yeah.
They're a good starting point. Yeah. So I think if you were pretty ruthless about getting to good enough in those areas, that might free up enough of your bandwidth to ensure that the links are still happening. Because you have to keep the endpoint in mind, because yes, it's important that you don't die along the journey, but equally, all companies are doing this better and better now. So if you're in a cohort of 0 to 1 type companies aiming for an outcome, if you kind of shit in your own bed on the way to getting to something sustainable, and another company's got to the same point as you are and they've made less of a mess, well, they're going to clean up, right? They are going to be operating within more efficiently, more effectively than you are. And if it's a competition, well, they'll win.
Yeah, it's like, the siloing is done because it's more efficient. So like you said, if you're competing with another company and they're doing the siloing, you're just going to lose before you even get to that larger scale.
Yeah, I mean, unless you can accrue some of the benefits of the siloing without falling into that trap. Like if you know that okay, siloing is a useful tool for now, but you know, in 6 months we're going to be at 50 people and we need to have X, Y, and Z. You can allow the efficiencies to accrue, but still keep an eye on where you need to be, and start thinking about the team topologies that you'll actually need, so that when that siloing is no longer driving progress, you can sort of roll it back or move it to where it needs to be.
Yeah.
But that's obviously a lot easier than waiting until it's causing pain.
Yeah. So if you have this mission plan where everyone is on board with, hey, we're siloing for now, but in 6 months or maybe a year, we're going to be changing that up again, and everyone understands what's going on, you can avoid that situation where everyone is siloed and they don't want to unsilo, right?
Yeah, and you could also avoid the overhead of every other meeting being about the pain of siloing. Because the Groundhog Day meeting in any kind of tech startup is, oh, what about our culture? What about the way we do things? And when half of every single meeting is about the friction that you're experiencing because you don't have this kind of story or context about where it is you're going, I mean, you're just wasting a load of time, right? If it's like, yeah, we know it's painful, but we know it's going to be like this. We knew it was going to be like this. We planned for this. We just need to get through this period until we're X or Y, or we've achieved the outcome, and then we'll park it for now and just sort of suck it up. I think that both acknowledges the dysfunction, which there's always going to be in a startup. You're never going to have everything perfect.
Yeah.
But it recognizes that there are bigger priorities right now